Hey, my Liptons. So I wanted to come in here and do I guess you could say my reaction or my review of this documentary. Listen, yesterday I was just like on my I've been on a crime binge for like I've always been like a true crime fan. If I'm gonna be honest, I've always like enjoyed watching ID Discovery, the episodes like Evil Lives Here, Paula Zahn, like those have always been like my type of documentaries and shows, like anything true crime. Like I've been watching it since I was like a kid, so obviously too I've also been kind of been binge watching some Netflix true crime and their documentaries. And for the most part I will say like Netflix does their true crime documentaries like perfectly well. Production is on point, like the stories. Yeah, I already know. I think I did a few. I didn't give like my full thoughts on like some of the Netflix docs. I think I gave recommendations on my channel on like, hey, like you should go watch this documentary or you should go watch that documentary because I watched it, and y'all should go watch it on y'all, by yourselves and see how you guys feel about it. But for this particular one, for some reason, even though all the other documentaries that like, every single one of those stories, like it disgusted me. Like it really disgusted me. But for some reason with this, I was just like, I need to make like an individual video about this. I need to do a video. I need to talk about like talk about certain key points that happened in the documentary and my thoughts and just some things that didn't sit right with my spirit in this doc. So I wrote this yesterday. So this is my channel. By the way, y'all can subscribe to my channel. Let's get it to 1,000 subscribers. Subscribe. So I wrote this was yesterday, or early this morning, I guess you could say 19 hours ago. And I said, my tin hat is tingling. I just finished watching American Nightmare on Netflix. And let me just say there are still some unanswered questions I have after watching the documentary. I'll put a video of my review of the, oh, messed up. Okay. Dyslexia. So stay tuned. Um, so yeah, so I put this up on my community tab. By the way, like I said, please subscribe to the channel. If y'all, I have other videos up here. Y'all want to go through anything? I talk about a bunch of things, so please subscribe to the channel. Okay, so that's what I put. And let me just say this: I did not know about this case. Well, this took place back in 2015. Okay, so at the time, this took place in 2015. They called it, I guess the name, I guess, unfortunately, even though it shouldn't be called like that, but due to the circumstances and everything that happened, um, this American Nightmare documentary is basically like the Gone Girl case that happened in 2015. Okay. So this happened in California, Vallejo. Listen, Vallejo, I think that's how you guys call it, Vallejo. I guess that's a small town in California. Um, the people of Vallejo, y'all gonna have to. I guess y'all really not gonna have to depend on the police. Okay, y'all gonna have to. I guess arm yourselves. Practice your Second Amendment rights. Maybe even be on some vigilante shit because clearly the police is on some bullshit in Vallejo. Okay, so and apparently Vallejo is also the same town where the Zodiac killer was over there doing a bunch of bullshit. So it's like they weren't even able to catch the Zodiac killer after all these years, even though it's been all kinds of speculations, all kinds of things. So the people of Vallejo, I don't know. Like I think that y'all gonna have to take matters into your own hands. Okay, because clearly the police department over there has not been doing their jobs and it's on some bullshit. Okay, so that's that. Let me just get that off my chest, okay? Because there's gonna be a lot of ranting in this review. So this took place in Vallejo, California. So this they call it the Gone Girl case, but okay, it has to do with this couple, right? So Denise Hawkins and Aaron Quinn, those are the two. They were boyfriend and girlfriend in 2015. Living in Vallejo. They're both physical therapists. Blah blah blah. So Aaron apparently he's also been in a previous relationship, of course, ladies man kind of thing, whatever. And he was also, before his relationship with Denise, Yeah, so this is Aaron, and then this is Denise. So before he got into a relationship with Denise, he was engaged previously to a girl named Andrea. Keep that name in mind, because I got to talk about my conspiracy and everything towards the end. So he was engaged before, and then he states in documentary that like, um, and Andrea, his fiance, basically cheated on him. So they ended up breaking the engagement. He moved on, and then he started to date Denise. So I would say like Denise and Aaron were with each other for like a couple of months. I won't even say they were with each other for that long, really. Like they were with each other for like a couple of months, a good couple of months, and then they moved into with each other. Blah blah blah. So then Denise discovers that like Aaron Aaron is still like low key trying to get with his ex fiance Andrea. Blah blah blah. So she feels, obviously she's upset, very upset. And then I think they took like a month break, blah, blah, blah. And, they came back together. He started going to therapy, whatever, whatever. So then, she goes back to him, whatever. So then let's just get to the whole crime about this whole American Nightmare thing. They're in bed, and then obviously an intruder comes to the house. An intruder comes to the house. It's dark. The intruder has like a red laser beam, like pointed at them, flashlights. And the way Denise and Aaron made it seem, they made it seem like there was more than one person in the room with them. The one that invaded, more than one intruder. Okay, so the intruder tells them, "Listen, Aaron, turn your back around. We're gonna put zip ties on you. You're also gonna, tie up your girlfriend. We're gonna give you sedatives, like I think it's what, Vicks NyQuil or something. We're gonna give you a Vicks NyQuil so that you can, it can drug them to fall asleep and whatever." So then they ended up giving Aaron that, and they told Aaron that we're gonna take your girlfriend and we're gonna hold her for ransom, and you're gonna have to give us that ransom, blah blah blah, else we're gonna kill her, blah blah blah. So then they said that we're gonna make sure that when we take your girlfriend, we're gonna put up a camera, because they gave I forgot. They gave both of them the sedatives, but they also gave Aaron the sedatives, and they also put these like wet goggles, like these blackout. I think the goggles were like taped up, so that they couldn't see the intruder's face. Put that on him. Put that on Denise. They ended up dragging Aaron to like, I think, the living room or something, and they put the camera up at the area where they placed Aaron, basically to to monitor him, making sure that he's not calling the cops, making sure that he's responding to their text messages about the ransom and everything like that. So then the intruder ended up taking Denise with them. Aaron, still tied up, but due to the sedatives, he knocks out, like he's dead. Like, I mean, not dead, but like, he ends up falling asleep. So I think, 6 hours goes by. He finally wakes up. He takes the shit off of himself. He takes the goggles and all that stuff off. And then he notices the camera that the intruder put in the house. He notices that. It's like, oh shit, like this really happened. So then he was like, okay, they're really watching me. So the intruder ends up sending him a text like, yo, like, we need, I think, what did he say, $12,000 or something like that? I think it's $12,000. They're like, okay, well, we want $12,000. You need to, funnel that back into our accounts so that like we can release your girlfriend. So then Aaron tries to like, he tries to, get his bank to get all the money. And then they said at the time, like, he said that Aaron said that he can only get 3,500. So then he texts that back to the intruder, like, listen, like, oh, I forgot to say this. When the intruder, no. What was it? No. Okay, I'm gonna wait. The, so Aaron texts that to the guy, like, hey, like, the intruder, like, hey, like, only got 3,500. What's going on? So he sends that text. The intruder does not respond back. So like Aaron is like, oh my god, I'm going crazy. Like, these people have my girlfriend. Like, they might kill her. So he's like, F it, I'm gonna call the cops. He calls the cops. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I first started the doc, like, because it's 3 episodes, so it's like in the first episode, like when Aaron called, Aaron sounded so calm. Like, he was so. I'm not gonna lie. that's even for like as far as like with my own like stereotypes and like what I think a traumatized person should be like talking or responding, or like how to communicate, like as far as like what happened in a crime scene. Because usually, like obviously, like through like the things that we watch, the TV shows, the movies, like the stereotypical, like, oh my god, if something like that were to happen, you'll be cooking and screaming and oh my god, like someone took my girlfriend. Like usually that's like in the back, like subconsciously, that's what we think someone's reaction would be like. But like hearing Aaron, and I'm obviously soon to hear Denise, I was like, yo, like they sound so calm. Like I was like, they sound even like Aaron's 911 call. I was like, why does he sound so calm? But then it was like, not, you also got to take into consideration like the sedatives that he just took. Like he's probably feeling tired. It's like when you take a Vicks NyQuil, that shit hit. Okay, so it's like you talking, and it's like you trying to stay calm and things like that. So it's like those are the things. And I also have to realize like not everybody's gonna react to trauma in like a overtly dramatic way. So those are things that I really have to like clock myself and check my biases and that kind of thing. So he called the cops. He's like, listen, and the intruder came to my house. They took my girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. So then they take Aaron to the police station. At first, okay, they, the police, the police was like, okay, like, we're going to talk to the boyfriend. We're going to see what, like, hear the whole story, what happened. So Aaron basically breaks down everything that happened. Like the intruder came in, they put wet, like it felt like the guy was wearing a wetsuit. The intruder was wearing a wetsuit. He put these blacked out goggles on me, tied me up with zip ties, camera. They texted me talking about some ransoms and da 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 da. So then the police was like, here's my thing with the Vallejo police, okay? In the first episode, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I don't blame them. In the beginning, I don't blame them at first for not believing Aaron. I know, like, obviously, like, it's one of those things, like, yes, like, they have to they heard the full story. But if you take, like, obviously everything out of it, the story, in a way, does kind of sound unbelievable. When you first hear it, it's like, okay, like, the guy is he's wearing a wetsuit. He puts these blacked out, taped up goggles on you. He takes your girlfriend. He makes you drink, he forces Vicks NyQuil down your throat. You pass out. You don't call the cops till 12 hours later. It's gonna look like, okay, well, Aaron is the one that carried out this crime. It's gonna look like, well, Aaron. And the police said this too in the first episode. They were like, well, you were having issues with your girlfriend prior to this. You were still texting your ex-fiance. You were still trying to get with your ex-fiance. Your girlfriend felt some type of way about it. So it's looking like, well, you wanting to get rid of Denise. So either you can be with, your ex-fiance or something, you know? So I can, in a way, it's like I can see in the beginning, I can see why the cops felt like Aaron has something to do with it. And it's like, even me, it's like, not just that, looking at like statistics and stuff like that, and multiple cases in the past, like sometimes nine times out of 10, it's either the boyfriend, the husband, whatever. They're the ones that end up murking their significant others. So I'm not shocked that they were like really questioning him heavy. But my issue with the cops and what they did afterwards is what pissed me off. Okay, especially getting into episode 2 and then episode 3. So, they're questioning Aaron. They feel like he did it. They feel like he carried out this crime, blah, 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 blah. So then, by the next thing you know, towards like the end of episode 1, here comes like this dash. Oh, no. Before that, they also, the police, during this time, they start talking to, Denise's family. They, talking to like, Denise, like, has anything ever happened to her in the past, blah, blah, blah. And then Denise's mother was like, oh, well, Denise was molested when she was 12 years old. That happened to her. And then the The Detective Mustard, you freaking clown. Oh, this is when I changed my tune. This is when I changed my tune when I was watching this. Detective Mustard, the one that was questioning Aaron and the one that was accusing Aaron of killing Denise. Mustard goes on to tell Denise's mother, well, if she was molested, maybe, she probably, usually people that are like sexually abused, they want to relive that traumatic moment again, to relive the thrill of it, because like he basically was trying to say is like it makes them more sexually promiscuous, so maybe that has something to do with her disappearance. When I heard that, I was just like, are you fucking serious, Mustard? Are you freaking serious, Detective Mustard? Clearly, I'm glad that your last name is Mustard, because you are a freaking clown. You belong with Ronald McDonald in the circus. You are a clown for that comment. Are you freaking serious? Like, what kind of bullshit comment? I wish her mother could have cursed his ass out when he said some shit like that to her. Are you serious? When I heard that, I was like, oh no, the police are on some bullshit. They're on some bullshit. So towards the end of episode one, Denise, there's a dash cam on Denise's father's house, and the dash cam catches Denise to walking walking to um her father's house. So then so then that's when episode two in the kitchen. That's when episode two hits, and I'm like, oh, so like she is like alive and da da da. What just happened? So now everybody's confused. The media's confused. The police are confused. They're like, wait a minute. So someone who was kidnapped and was taken for ransom ends up coming back. Like what kidnapper releases their their victim? So immediately the police immediately were like, well, they were like, okay, well, this is some bullshit. Like, clearly, Denise made this whole thing up, trying to get attention, both her and Aaron. She did this probably to get back at Aaron, because Aaron was still trying to get with his ex. So, and the Ben Affleck movie Gone Girl, by the way, that is also a great movie. Ben Affleck's movie Gone Girl came out last year, which was in 2014. So they were like, okay, well, maybe she watched that film and maybe she wanted to create that same kind of scenario in her real life, so that people can look at Aaron in a bad light, making it seem as if he tried to have his girlfriend killed, and did this all for attention. So the police immediately came out and was just like, oh, Denise and Aaron wasted taxpayer money. Oh, they're attention seekers. They're this, they're that. Mind you, they didn't even talk to Denise yet. They didn't even have a sit down yet. Immediately went to go smear her all over the media. The media picked it up, smearing her all throughout freaking California, calling her a gone girl, calling her manipulative, attention seeking. Both her and Aaron are full of shit. This ransom thing never happened. They're all full of shit. Then we get into Denise's story, and y'all, Denise's story, I was just like, I can't like, yeah, and I've heard a lot of stories about like sexual abuse, kidnappings, but when I watch things like this, I was just like, girl, like, I don't know how you survived. I don't know how you did it, but you did it. But they get into her story. She talks about her story in episode two, how the same scenario, how Aaron talked about it, like, laser beams, flashlights, the goggles, everything. She gets taken into this trunk. I think the intruder takes her to like this cabin. Mind you, she still doesn't. He basically had her with the blacked out goggles, like, so she can't see how her intruder looks like. Like, and he's like, you cannot take it off. Like, you basically telling her not to take it off, blah blah. But, and of course she's not going to, because she's scared that he might try to like kill her or whatever. And then he takes her to the cabin and lays her down, blah blah. And he, at first it's like he's not really doing anything. He's just like playing his music. He's just doing his own thing. By the next thing you know, he comes to the room. He tells her, well, um you we're gonna have to have sex because, just in case if you try to go to the cops or whatever, if you say that you were raped or something, then like, um I can just release this tape on the internet, like just to blackmail her. So he ends up sexually assaulting her. He ends up Ring her. Um, so she and I'm gonna let y'all guys go. By the way, viewer discretion is advised. Clearly, if y'all are able to handle those kinds of stories and watch like and hear in detail what she went through, I suggest you guys watch it. But if you can't, then y'all can hear my own little bootleg commentary on it. But that happened, and he recorded it. Of course, he recorded him Ring her, and then so she was like, he allowed her to go take a shower, blah blah blah, and he told her that like she can take off the goggles when he's not in the room, but if he's coming back in the room, she has to put on the goggles so that she doesn't see him. So she's just like distraught and like everything that just happened, and he he comes back to the room. She puts on the goggles. He tells her, listen, I'm a part of like this kidnapping group, or like this, like kind of like a black market kidnapping group, and I have some other people here with me, and they're not as nice as me. So you need to follow, like he gave her sedatives, and he told her that you need to make sure that you're asleep because they're not as nice as me. So she takes the sedative, she falls asleep, and then she could hear, um you know, she pretends that she's sleeping, and she can hear like footsteps and other people talking in the cabin, in the cabinet, but she still has the goggles on at this moment. And she says that she hears someone coming in the room. She hears someone coming into the room, and then they end up leaving. So then after that, after they end up leaving, he and then the car because they came in a car, and then the car drives off. So clearly, I guess clearly there were other people that were there in the cabin. So then after that, the intruder comes back to the room, and he tells her, he tells Denise like, the video that we made with me R-ing you wasn't good enough, like it wasn't professional enough, like you look too detached. You need to make it seem as if it was consensual. So he tells that to her, and she's like, are you serious? Like, are you serious? So then he basically tells her like, we gotta do this again, and you gotta make sure that you're performing well. So then he leaves like wine and alcohol on the thing. He goes out. She's like, oh my god. And then she drinks, and she was like, you know what, let's just get this over with, so like he doesn't kill me, he doesn't do anything to me, whatever. So she drinks it. He comes back, and then he R's her for the second time. So then after that, he ends up like bringing her back to her father's house, basically. And he was like, I can't take you back to Aaron's house because there's too many police, there's too many cops, I gotta take you to like your father's house. And she still had the goggles on her face, taped her eyes shut, and he was like, if you can, he was like, you can go to the police, you can do that, but don't tell them that I ordered you, and don't tell them, don't, I think he said don't tell them something too. He said something else, but he was like, oh yeah, if you do that, then I'm gonna come for your family. I'm going to come for your family, and I'm gonna like take you out, or do all kinds of things. So then he releases her out from the car, and he was like, don't take the goggles off until like you count to 10, and I drive off. So she gets out the car, he drives off, she counts to 10, waits a few more extra seconds, and then takes off the tape from her eyes. She's just like, she's in a way, it's like almost like she's in heaven, like, oh my god, like, am I really free, like, am I really here, like, am I really, I can see the light, like, is this real? So she's walking, and she's like, going to her father's house, and her father's not there. So then she sees like a neighbor near her dad's house, and then the neighbor was like, "Oh my god, like we've been looking everywhere for you, blah blah." So at this point, she was gone for, I think she was kidnapped for like 48 hours. I think 2 days. She was kidnapped. Um, I think, yeah, 2 3 days she was kidnapped. So obviously, fast forward from there. That was basically all this episode two, and then obviously the police um was smearing her throughout the media, saying that like she's a liar, she's this, she's that. She goes to she talks to, like, I think, an FBI agent first, and she was, he was asking her questions, and she was like, yeah, like this would happen, boom boom boom. But then when it got to the point where like the FBI agent asked, like, were you assaulted? And she just remembered what her intruder said, that like he was going to kill her family and things like that. So she lied at first to the FBI agent, say, yeah, no, I wasn't like armed or anything like that, I wasn't assaulted. So then he was like, okay, blah blah. So then she was just like, I don't know, like, what's going on. And then she hears on the news that she's like, being smeared all over the media by the police. So then she ends up getting a lawyer from like I think San Diego or San Francisco, one of those two places. So the lawyer tells her, listen, do not talk to the cops after this. Get on a plane so that you can come over here so we can handle this whole situation. So she ends up going to San Diego, and then the police like stay like just smearing her throughout the press, the FBI, the Vallejo police, everybody, the media, and the media was just like pouring more gasoline, pouring more gasoline, pouring more gasoline, just like defaming her character. So she does not meet Aaron still, even when she went to like she did not meet Aaron since she came back home. So then she tells the lawyer everything. She even tells the lawyer that she was sexually assaulted. Then the lawyer was like, well, you're gonna have to go take I think it's called a stat test. It's like those sexual assault evaluations, but that's given by the police. So he was like, you're gonna have to go do that test so that it can prove that you were sexually assaulted. So she was like, no, the intruder said that like he was gonna kill my family. He was gonna, and then the lawyer was like, listen, like, do not let this monster have power over you. Like, that's all really what he's trying to do. He's trying to have like psychologically manipulate you, have power over you. Do not let him win. So she was like, okay, fine, I'm gonna do it. So when she gets back to Vallejo, she talks to that same motherfucker, Detective Buster. She talks to him, tells him everything that she went through. Mind you, her story aligns with Erin's story about the abduction and how she was taken out of the house. Tells him everything. She does the sexual assault evaluation, and it's actually found out that there was sexual intercourse that took place 2 days prior. So like it was evident that like she was assaulted, but there was no like like as far as like damage done to her, like as far as like because sometimes, especially with sexual assault, damage can be done to the cervix and so forth, but like it clearly showed that there was something happened there. But the police did still nothing. Like they didn't put it out there that like she was essayed. They didn't put it out there about the fact that like they lied, saying that Aaron failed the lie detector exam, when in fact that there was just inconclusive results. So that FBI agent lied to him, saying that he failed miserably. They didn't look at like as far as like Aaron's phone. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, why the hell didn't they look at Aaron's phone when when the intruder was sending him text messages and so forth? It turns out the police put his phone on airplane mode, so they couldn't even, had they not put his phone on airplane mode, they could have tracked the intruder's phone, and that would have prevented the second sexual assault happening to Denise. So then, all of this was happening. Let me just say this. Shout out to, I'm forgetting her name, but the detective from Dublin PD. She is the one that ended up cracking the case wide open. Not even the feds failed. Vallejo PD failed. They couldn't they couldn't do anything. They didn't do shit. All they did was smearing this girl's name. The detective from Dublin PD is the one that ended up opening the case and linking the intruder to multiple different assaults that have happened throughout California. They end up catching the intruder. I think the intruder's name is called Matthew Muller. He's the one that was Denise's sexual assaulter, the one that kidnapped her and so forth. They end up arresting him. They end up leaking him to Denise and Aaron's case. A whole retraction ended up happening in the media. Vallejo PD's bitch ass selves took years to apologize to these two. A lawsuit occurred to Denise and Aaron's end up suing Vallejo as they should. I don't think that they got the settlement was not enough. They only got 2.5 million from that settlement, which is bullshit. They should have got at least 10 million. They after everything that they went through, at least 10 million. That's what they should have, personally for me, that's what they should have got. But that it ends there basically, and it ends up with like her and him getting married, and they have 2 children, which is nice. But Vallejo PD Vallejo PD pisses me off so much because they end up giving the detective Mustard, his bitch ass, they end up giving her a promotion. And then they the cops were not apprehended for anything. They were not apprehended. There were no disciplinary actions taken. This was a very frustrating documentary. It was very frustrating. I let's talk. My tin hat is tingling. Even though I'm happy that they caught Matthew Muller's assaulting ass, something's also not sitting right here. I was like, okay, well, I'm glad everything is all, ends with rainbows and things like that. But like, didn't we also hear that Denise and Aaron said that like there were multiple people in the home when they got intruded? So it's like, that's one unanswered question that I have. 2, the intruder, the attacker, Matthew Muller, tells Denise while he had her in captivity, this was initially meant for Andrea, Aaron's ex-fiance, not you. So I'm like, what? First of all, not only that, Andrea, Aaron's ex-fiance, was also dating the FBI agent who was a part of the case, which made him a conflict of interest. So I'm like, okay, clearly there's clearly something ain't clean in the buttermilk. Andrea, that FBI agent, and Matthew Muller, there are ties there. To me personally, I feel like there are ties there. I don't know. I don't want to say like, this was done purposely to frame Aaron. I don't know about that. I just feel like the FBI agent didn't probably want to make Aaron seem too innocent because of like his history with Andrea. But someone needs to get before Matthew Muller's bitch ass passes away. Y'all need to ask him how. First of all, how did he know Andrea? What is the history there? The connection there? Why were you looking for her, and not Denise? Like what? There's still some unanswered. Like Andrea, overall, there's clearly an elephant in the room, and Denise also said that like there were other people in that cabin. Like someone drove up to the cabin and he heard voices. So it was like, what happened with that? Like that wasn't also cleared up for us. I'm not gonna hold you. I was listening to this one podcast. A shout out to, I think, Kendall Ray, and I think the guy's name is Josh, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out to Josh. Let me say something. Josh does not believe. Josh, and he made a somewhat a compelling like case. Josh does not believe that like Matthew Muller was working with other people, that he was in like this black market kidnapping group. He doesn't believe that that ever happened. He just thinks that like Matthew Muller, because Matthew Muller does suffer, I guess he said that he suffered from like bipolar or something like that. He thinks that's just a mental thing with him, a mental issue, that like one, overall, if you look at the case overall, everything was very sloppy, from like how Matthew Muller went into the house and what the kind of weapons that the quote unquote weapons that he used for his victims. Like he used water guns instead of like a real gun, the flashlights, the red laser beams. So it's like he didn't even have like real weapons. The fact that like how he was even caught by Dublin PD, like he left his phone at the home, like one of his home invasions. So it's just like he's like, I just don't think that he was working with anybody. And it's like I get it. Like I get what, and shout out to Josh, shout out to the what's it called? Mile Higher podcast. I was listening to that before I even made this review. But like I was just like, I get it, Josh, but it's like I don't know. Like, cause no, and Josh also said that, listen, these like black market groups and like these, gutter but disgusting, like, black market groups, they will take someone out before you ever snitch on them. Like they will. Why would they allow Matthew Muller to be out here just like lollygagging around, texting news organization talking about some like Denise and Aaron are innocent, blah blah blah. Like they would never allow that. So it's like, why would they let Matthew Muller slide? And on top of that, why would they allow Matthew Muller to be out here making interviews? So it's like I said, I get it, but something is still not cleaning the buttermilk. To me, I still need answers. Why was he looking for Andrea? How did he know Andrea? I need to know how he knew Andrea. It needs to be clear to me who ran up to the cabin. Did anybody else except for Matthew Muller came into the room when Denise was sleeping, had the goggles on? It's like, I need those answers. So at this point right now, it's like I'm kind of neutral on it. It's like I feel like I can see why people feel like, okay, well, Matthew Muller was just crazy, and he probably had recordings or something like that. Like there was no real people involved. It was just him. But at the same time, it's like I wouldn't put it past anybody at this point. Um, you know. And then on top of that, didn't Matthew Muller also, when he was sending emails to that news organization guy, that like it's him and two other like college students that were a part of this, a part of like home invasions and intrudings. It's like, I don't know. And it's like, I truly want these answers before Matthew Muller kicks the bucket. And even though he's only serving 40 years in prison, even though it should have been longer, he should have been there for life. But I hope that he gives us the answers. He's a little, obviously Matthew Muller's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but like, we need those answers. I need some clearly Denise and Aaron need some closure, and the audience also needs some form of closure too, because Andrea and that FBI agent too, they also need to be vetted. I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know, but yeah, my Liptons, this documentary had me in shambles last night, okay? I was just like, oh my God, like, what the hell is going on? I'm like, Vallejo PD, what are y'all doing? It's like, at first I was on y'all side. I understand why y'all guys felt like Aaron was guilty. But then, towards like episode 2, the bullshit that y'all was doing, I was like, okay, no, now y'all are full of shit. And the fact that y'all could have traced Aaron's phone and y'all could have found, Denise sooner, that really pissed me off. So I don't know, y'all. It's just, there's a lot of injustice that's going on in this world. All we can really do is try to live and try to survive in this disgusting world, and try to find some kind of happiness, because my goodness, this was a crazy story. But yeah, guys, tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get up to 1,000 subscribers, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.